Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Tao of the Day. I don't distinguish different Taos of the day here on Wisdom. Every Tao of the day is the same. The Tao of the day is always the same because um, it's all really about the numbers that come up and the things that we talk about. Every single Tao of the day that I do is Marcy. How are you? It has been a while since we've talked, so if you would like a number today and have a moment, please step up. Would love to say hello. Oh, Marcy, it's been too long. So. I am in Tennessee. Hey, Marcy, how you doing?
Morning.
Oh, it's a morning. I am down here in Tennessee at the moment, hanging out with Catherine Mahoney. Do you know Catherine?
I don't think I do.
No, Catherine's on here on Wisdom. She was one of the early, one of the first people that were kind of brought on here, and she and I have birthdays tomorrow together. So we are celebrating birthdays.
Oh, you know what? I should have known you were a Cancer. And I
Yeah,
say
that's.
that with so much love because
Oh,
Cancer is my favorite. It's my favorite sign.
we are.
Um,
Yeah, we are pretty special.
yes. I don't know Catherine Mahoney, but I like her name. So you can tell her
Yeah.
I said happy birthday.
I will. I will. Yeah, we
And,
are we are June 30th, and
oh,
it's like I don't know, it's like June 30th is a special day. Like when I was a kid, I was used to celebrate like every time I saw like coupons, they would always
the
expire on June
expiration.
30th. And I'd be like, "Wow, everything ends on my birthday. Like how special
That's
is
so
that?"
cool.
Like on my birthday, I can just go through all the coupons and I can get all the special deals.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
And
Well,
and
go ahead, Tidish. I'm sorry.
and it's interesting because Catherine and I are gonna go around and get like all our free stuff for our birthday. Like like the Krispy Kreme gives you a
God,
free dozen
Martin John,
donuts for
that's
your
hysterical.
birthday, and everybody has there's like a little free something for your birthday. So
I love that. I
so
like
we're
the
gonna go
fact
around
that
and cash in on coupons.
I like the fact that you're celebrating like that. That's a good one. I gotta remember that. I never do anything like that on my birthday.
Yeah.
I kind of just invite people over and I cook for them, or my kids cook for me.
Oh,
Yeah. So I have two cancers. My
when
son's
I was
birthday
like,
is next week, and then Riley's birthday was last
when's
week.
your son's
So
birthday?
on the 8th, my sister is the
Oh.
9th, and Riley's birthday was on the 25th. So I love my cancers. I missed you, by the way. Just
Oh
wanted to say that.
yeah.
I missed you.
Yeah. I'm not always on Wisdom as much as I used to be. I try and get on here and do my Tao of the day, and then I'm off trying to do my other stuff, especially now that it's summer. This is my first summer on Wisdom, and like I'm realizing that I'm doing other stuff.
Wow, you have
I
a
was
life.
hanging out with Andy last week. She came to
I
Chicago,
saw
and you were
that.
talking about cooking, and like that's one of my things. Like I just love cooking for the people I love.
I do too. I just don't enjoy cooking.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think I got to make her. I think I only got to make her two meals, but she was only in town for a short time. But I made these like bacon wrapped chorizo stuffed dates
Oh,
and like.
chorizo.
Yes, it was Spanish chorizo, so very, very, very heavy in the paprika, in the smoked paprika.
Come on, Martin John. Really? Is there any other type of chorizo?
Well, I'm in Chicago, so like you ask for chorizo, you're often getting Mexican chorizo,
Well, yeah.
which is it's good, but it's a different beast.
I think I'm Mexican and I'm Spanish, so chorizo's chorizo.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
So I have a
So let's
number.
let's yeah, let's look at
Yeah.
a number.
I have two in my head, but I'm gonna pick one. Let's
Okay.
let's do 74.
74. If you realize that all things change, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. If you aren't afraid of dying, there is nothing you can't achieve. Trying to control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's place. When you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are you will cut your hand.
Hmm. I like that a lot.
Yeah. What are the things that pop out to you initially?
Um, well, I never try to change anything. If it's
Yeah.
if it's gonna be, it's gonna be. Oh, I was speaking to someone yesterday about this. Actually, I read a book, short story, about a woman who works with aliens. She's learning their language so she can communicate with them, and they give her a gift for that communication, and she's able to see and live through all time
Oh
of
yeah.
her timeline. And she discovers that she's going to get married and have a child, and that child's going to die in the future in an accident, and her now she has to decide whether or not she actually wants to have this child.
Mm.
And she does.
Yeah, of course.
um, I know lots of people who say, I wouldn't do it. What, to lose her at such a young age? And but then you'd be missing out on something,
That's right.
on that child, on that person, that beautiful life. So I, I don't. I think when you try to change things, it's like you said, taking the master's tools, you get cut, you can
Yeah.
hurt yourself when you try to do something that you're not prepared to do
Oh, that's
or
beautiful.
conditioned
No,
to do. Yeah.
I was talking to someone the other day about like you're not responsible, right? You're not responsible for this thing. Like you created something, or whether that's a person, or whether that's a project, or whether that's an art, or whether that is, a piece of art or whatever. You created this thing, and if you want to control that thing, well, then you are already you don't want to be controlled, so why would you want to control that thing? It was funny. I remember now the conversation I was having. It's like if you're in a relationship with somebody and you want to keep them safe, it's just like, yeah, but you don't want to be told what to do, even if it is to keep you safe, because you know what's best for you. Well, then, don't you
Mm-hmm.
think they know what's best for them? And it's like the ignorance of some of us that really want to kind of go out and say, I know what's best for you. Oh, wait a minute now. You do not. So, like that's where, like, and so we look at the first line, and I really like the first line of this. If you realize that all things change, because, like, once you read that line, you're like, well, of course all things change.
Yes.
And then it says, there is nothing you will try to hold on to. And then, the first thing you start thinking of are all the things you don't want to lose.
Yes.
You know, if you realize things change, there's nothing you will want to hold on to. Oh, but here's all these things I don't want to lose, and oh, all things change. I have to become okay with the idea that I can lose this thing, even if I don't want to. All things change. This thing right now,
Well,
and
unfortunately,
I talk about. Go on.
I was going to say, unfortunately, for a lot of people, when you talk about change, fear sets in,
That's right.
or you know, about losing things. Then all of a sudden, it's like, no, well, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to lose this thing. But where's the risk? I like taking chances.
Yeah.
So,
Be
9 was a
open
beautiful
to it
number.
improving. Like
Yes.
if you're in a relationship, well, that relationship is going to change. And maybe it's going to change for the better, but you have to be open for it to change, even if there's contraction in that change. Even if that change means, ugh, now I'm not. This isn't what I expected.
Exactly. Well,
And then it
it's
goes
really
on to
beautiful.
say, if you aren't afraid of dying, there's nothing you can't achieve.
Okay. That's an open-ended question, I think. I'm not afraid of dying, but I don't want to go yet.
Right. But if you were to go now, you lose everything that you achieved. And it's that afraid of
I think
dying.
it's always
Like,
that
you're not afraid of dying so you can step into everything, like you're not
sorry,
afraid
one
of
of us
losing
keeps cutting in and
face
out.
because, there's this.
Thank you, wisdom.
Oh, it might be me. um but yeah, I do think that I like this idea of not of being afraid of dying, but that's a hard thing to, because I think not being afraid of dying is what brought me into my dark retreat. Put me in that position of having to face darkness because I wasn't afraid of dying and then getting stung by the scorpion.
Oh, yeah, remember when you told us about that?
Yeah.
Oh,
So then I can be there and I can be present in that moment. I don't have to be afraid of dying and then lose and then be afraid of like that's the biggest fear. Like it's really it's not only about not being afraid of dying, it's about not being afraid of anything, because dying is the ultimate, right? That's the one that holds on. Like, you could be, maybe you're afraid of losing your job, maybe you're afraid of whatever, but like, if you're afraid of anything, it's like, if you aren't afraid, period, there's nothing you can't achieve. But fear comes with trying to hold on to things. And
there we
that's what
go.
it started with. If you realize that all things change and you can accept that, then there's nothing you're going to try to hold on to, even your life. And if you can get to the place of not being afraid, not holding on to your life, there's nothing you can't do. Everything is within your grasp. Trying to control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's place. If you take When you handle the master carpenter's tools, chances are you'll cut your hand. As soon as you start taking responsibility for other things, even your life, because your life isn't yours, like, it's on here as an offering, and everything is forfeit. Your relationships, your conversations, your job, your money, your tools, you are forfeit to the universe, because the Tao is underneath everything, kind of making it all balance out. And if you
Yeah.
try to control it, you're just going to constantly get little cuts along the way that'll just irritate the hell out of you.
That's one way of putting it.
But if you can realize that all things change, and don't try to hold on to things, don't try to hold on to this relationship, don't try to hold on to this life, don't try to hold on to all of these things as they are, right? Things are going to change, and that's okay. Don't be afraid of them changing, because things are only changing for your benefit and the benefit of all people, even if it doesn't feel like that in the moment.
I really like that. This was a really good one.
Mm, beautiful. 74. Thank you
Hmm.
so much for coming up. I've missed you, Marcy.
I missed you too. Well, I got a bone to pick with you. Did
Okay.
you tell Joshua Blattman you call me Marcy, that I gave you permission? Because he was all in his feels about it. Oh, how come he gets to call you Marcy? So now Joshua Blattman calls me Marcy as well.
I think he came on and said, "I heard you call her Marcy," and I was like,
I'm just
"Yeah, I
teasing
got
you, Martin
permission to
John.
do
I
that."
figured that.
Like, I told him, he put me on the spot. I didn't offer up that information.
Oh, I know.
Like,
I'm teasing you. I'll have to throw a punch in though.
I I thought I felt very special. And
You are very special. Now he's whining, so I told him he could too. But he's not
oh,
getting
well,
used
I'm
to it.
glad I
He's,
got that without
yeah.
whining. Like, I
um,
feel I feel good about that.
have a beautiful day, Martin John. Thank you for that lovely number. That's a great number. I'm gonna write that
Absolutely.
down and
Thank you.
remember it. Have
Yeah, I
Take
can.
care.
Are we connected on Instagram?
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Yes, we are.
Yes, yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Yeah. I'll send it to you
Oh, thank
via
you.
Instagram.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
that. I think I'm going to post that.
Yeah.
All right, sweetheart. I love you.
All
You
right. Love
are
you.
wonderful and amazing. And wow, it's still the beginning of the week. It's the middle of the week. Enjoy the rest of the
It
week, Mark
is.
John.
It is.
I'll
And
talk to you
it's my
soon.
birthday week.
That's right. Happy birthday. Everybody
Thank
celebrate Martin John's birthday with him.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you so
I'll talk
much.
to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was such a beautiful share. I really appreciate Marcy for coming up. I also, like I do have to say, you know, I am, it is special to be able to call Marcy Marcy, and I appreciate that. So yeah, so 74, such a beautiful verse. If you realize that all things change, realize that all things change. There's nothing you'll try to hold on to. If you aren't afraid of dying, if you aren't afraid of dying, there's nothing you can't achieve. And that's the thing. Like it's like that just goes to the ultimate extreme, right? With dying. But if you realize all things change, there's nothing you'll try to hold on to. If you aren't afraid, there's nothing you can't achieve, And that's if you just step, like I'm getting emotional now, if you just step into it, don't be afraid. Like if you have fear, look at your fear, of course. But if you aren't afraid, there's nothing you can't achieve, which means that you're going to step into it. And someone that showed me that this month was Andy Scarantino, who is awesome, and she had to face so much fear. And being someone that's so important to me, I've been able to be privy to so much of that. And so, and as she stepped into her and into her own, and she started like really kind of facing that there was nothing she can't achieve, and that's been proven to her. And I just want to say congratulations to her on achieving all that she has over the last month, and so much more she will achieve as she continues to face her life. She's not facing fears because, I mean, maybe she has fears, but she is facing those, and that's what this is all about. All things change. This right now is going to change. This right now, your feelings right now. Even yesterday, I was almost in tears about something, and it was Andy who was able to just kind of be like, nope, things are changing. Like all things change. It was such a great reminder. Trying to control the future is like trying to take the master carpenter's place. Every time you try to control it, you just got to let go. You got to receive. Otherwise, you're going to just cut your hand. You're gonna constantly cut your hand. And that's a son of a bitch. Like just getting cut all the time. If anybody else wants to come up and give me a number between 1 and 81, this is Tao of the Day. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient text. Oh, Andy. Andy. How are you, my dear? We're gonna have a we're gonna
Hi.
you're gonna yesterday you didn't pick a number, today you're gonna.
I'm gonna pick a number, yeah.
I am so grateful. How's your morning going?
It's going okay. I was just listening and I
Good.
was like, should I go up? Should I go up? I wanna pick a number.
Yeah.
I wanna pick number 10 because I don't think I've picked number 10 before.
Number 10.
Raquel is given a bunch of hearts.
Yeah, she knows that we're in love.
She's wonderful. I love her.
Okay, so number 10. Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? Can you let your body become supple like a newborn child? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the Can
I
you
think you're
love
breaking up
people
a
and
little.
lead
I
them?
didn't hear that last.
Yeah,
I didn't
this
hear.
is like I don't know why I'm breaking up. I am at Catherine's house. This may be a bad spot. I'm gonna get a little closer to the door and we'll see if that's a little helpful. Okay. Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? Can you let your body become supple like a newborn child? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will? Can you deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Giving birth and nourishing, having without possessing, acting with no expectations, leading and not trying to control. This is the supreme virtue.
Mm.
I heard you flip a page. Did you open up your
Hmm.
copy? Yeah. Can you? Am I coming through?
I was supplementing the internet with my eyes.
Yes.
But yes,
Am-
you came through. You were fine.
Okay, good. All right. So I did take a little move, so hopefully that'll stick around. So I know you look at big picture whole things. So how does this sit? What are you thinking here?
That you do not know what is best for people.
Oh, are you saying that I personally don't know what's best for
No,
people? No, you as an you the grand you.
the proverbial you. That's what I
Yeah.
take from number 10.
Yes.
Um, especially the line, "Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will?"
Yes.
I have a client at the moment that struggles with this a little bit, in that they want to default to advice giving at all the times. Like, well, I
Mm.
know that I do I my like, they want to advice give because they want to help others, and they think that they know the best sort of course of action for those people. And I used to be an advice giver, so I get that. And I used to, and I still can be from time to time, but it doesn't matter if something's worked for me, it might not work for somebody else. And a lot of us have this story, this underlying story, that our our way is the way. So when I see the line, "Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but light?" Your inner vision is kind of garbage. Like, it applies to you only. It doesn't, I mean, there are parallels with other humans, but your inner vision applies to you, and things are going to unfold in a masterful way that's beyond your little mind.
Yeah.
So when I see the last line, "Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things?" That is like the greater, that's really what I see as the message in this bit here.
Yeah, I mean, I think even this 10, all of these one, two, three, four, five, yeah, all of those six things, they do say that one thing. Can you step back from your own? Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? Can you be at one with the Tao? Can you let your body become supple as a new? Can you just like receive? Because that's what a child does. It's just like it receives everything. It's
Hmm.
receiving all of the information. It receives food. And it's cared for. It's picked up. It's moved, and it just allows that to happen. Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? And what is the light? The original oneness. What is the light but like all things? So you can understand all things. Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will? Can you allow them to be who they are? Can you allow them to hurt? And is that okay? Can you and that gets really tough when people like when people are like, but this isn't good, right? We have this concept of like good and bad, but if we get stuck into this idea of letting people do what they want but they're doing bad things, we have to go back to that first line. Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? Your wandering of like what's right and wrong and good and bad and all of that.
Hmm.
Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Can you step back from all of your all of the influence that you've picked up along the way? Can you step back from all of that and just say, this is? Like I sent out that email yesterday all about my MS, and I was like, well, if I hung on to my mind and said, I'm not going to walk, that's quote unquote bad. Well, then I would have never been able to recover. I would have just been in fear. And just like we were talking about with Marcy a second ago, all things change. So you can
Hmm.
change too.
I have I have another thought because this is kind of
Yeah.
really resonates with me in this last part about giving birth and nourishing, having without possessing. Because I keep thinking about my group, and I keep thinking about maybe I do this a little bit in that there are women in there, and there's a lot of these women want to create this area. So I have it in circle, you know this, but and there's spaces in circle, and they have expressed their desire for a space where they could discuss body image and the hell that they've kind of been through with that. And I immediately was like, I'm fine with that. So long as this doesn't become a space where we use it to reinforce things that don't serve you, like reinforce active beliefs that you have that don't serve you. Because a lot
Right.
of times when you have people that are all of a similar mindset, they work as an amoeba to reinforce active beliefs. And so I said that, and then I was like, ah, fuck. Like, should I have even said that? And I've kind of been resistant to allowing them to have that space because I want them to see that they're beyond that. Like, that is the most insignificant thing when it comes to their human experience. But now I'm starting to see, you know what, like, they're going to need to have that space before they come to that realization.
Yeah.
So I have to allow them to have that. So I have given birth. I'm going to nourish. I'm going to create the space. I'm going to allow them to go in there and do that.
That's
And
beautiful.
I will
And that's
police
going
it
to
to the best of my ability, but
right.
I'm just going to allow it, like I'm going to
That's
allow
right.
it.
And then, like as you start to quote unquote police, I mean, remember there is like
And it's not policing. It's like
well, of
if
course.
I see a lot of like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's more along the lines of just, I'm just there
You
as,
can love people without imposing your will.
yeah. I can, and well, they're there so that they can get out of these patterns of stuff. So in a way, I still have a role to play
Of
in
course.
that community, but I can't decide what is important for them. Like, and that's kind of important because
Yeah.
if I could decide what was for them, I would be like, fuck, like, forget about your body entirely. Like, but maybe they
Right, but
can't.
they have to come to
Yeah,
that on their own.
yeah, like they
And that's what
will.
this is all about. This whole thing is at the end here, it's all about the master allowing people to come to that on their own. And all of these questions up there, like, can you coax your mind from its original from its wandering to get to the original oneness? And all of those questions down to, can you step back from your own mind and let things take let and thus understand all things? That is those questions. If you can answer yes to all of those questions, you are a master. Right.
Hmm.
And that's the thing. Like, I know for me that, like, I can do that to an extent, right? Like, it might not be as deep as I would like. But then, and then as you were talking about the thing, like leading and not trying to control, you're
Hmm.
nourishing and you're like, and I know you and I talked about your group is a living thing.
Hmm.
It's going to be what it is. And what a
Oh, it really
beautiful,
is. It really
yeah,
is. It's such a weird. It's such a fucking cool thing to create something in the world because we're all just energy. Like, you were the one that taught me that, and it's so cool to see things exist in that space because I've always called kind of the things that we do here, like things that are digital. I've always kind of called that the fourth space. And it's
hmm
so cool to see that there's an actual space with energy that exists and it has become alive. And
right,
you just are watching it and you're like, holy shit, like this is wild. Like, and you can't, and then it stops. It is like giving birth to a child. Like, you
yeah,
don't get to decide what the child looks like, how the child's personality develops. Like,
nope,
you're probably going to fuck them up a little bit, but like, you
it's
really
good.
don't, like,
That's
your
its
influence
job.
can't be completely, like, you know
Yeah,
every single human, every single human develops their ego because beginning with their parents, it's unavoidable. You could be the best parent in the world, your kid's going to have an ego that is contingent on things you did,
Right.
like, and
But your kid has its work to do. Like its
yeah.
life, its purpose is to cover this work. Just like the work of day one as a group and as a living entity in and of itself, you created the structure. You created the masculine so that the Tao and the feminine can exist within it.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
it's really wild
it
because
is so wild. It is like you have created a structure for the Tao to express itself.
yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And so that I having without possessing, it's like, yes, I have this and I get paid. And
Yes.
also, it's not a possession of mine. It doesn't belong to me anymore. And I've been in groups with people that have, once again, not to live in the bitterness of my former teacher.
Oh, there's Andy. Hey, Andy, how you doing?
Oh, but speaking of, no, but I've been in his groups, and I remember that for anyone that is listening, I had a mentor, and he was really he was a little man, and I would speak in his groups, and he would like message me privately and like ask me to remove things that I said, and because they either made him look bad or because whatever. And it was just such a weird experience and it was such a controlling experience. Like, please, you make my ego doesn't like that you look smarter than I do, or that you look like you have more. And just to be on the other side of that, I was like, I don't want to ever be that for anyone. Like,
Yeah.
I want all of them to be able to be themselves in that container. And I know
You
what that's
see,
like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like what I see in this that relates to this number 10 is giving birth with and nourishing. That's something that your ex-teacher did. Giving birth and nourishing, but he possessed, he had expectations, and he tried to control. And
Hmm.
that was the thing, like giving birth and nourishing isn't the end. But you can have but not possess. You act without expectation and you lead without trying to control. That's the supreme virtue. Giving birth and nourishing is easy. Anybody can do it.
Hmm.
All of these other things are what is supreme virtue.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
that helps you step back from your own mind and understand things, coax your mind from wandering and be with oneness, get supple, see the light, and to love people and lead them without imposing your will. All of those things, you can't do those things unless you have without possess, act without expectation, and lead without trying to control.
Mm. Beautiful. Appropriate as always, helpful, insightful, wonderful. I love you.
I love you.
Thank you for letting me come up and
Anytime, all the time. All right. Have a wonderful afternoon and
you
morning.
as well,
Evening.
love.
Yeah.
I see ya.
All right. Well, that was beautiful. Number 10. Coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness. Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Can you know, like I can read this. I can read this stuff and you can understand it for the words, but that's not what we're here for, right? Like we can point to Andy's ex-teacher or Andy's ex-mentor and we can see that like, oh, these are the things that he was missing. But he wouldn't be able to learn how to have without possessing, act without expecting. And we can show him places where he's doing that and he can change his actions. But if you're not at one with the if you don't coax your mind from its wandering and get to the original oneness, if you don't do that, you're not going to be able to understand why your actions are taking place. You're just going to be in a Chinese room. If you know the Chinese room experiment, it's all the ideas of like, hey, put these together, put these cards together of Chinese words. Okay, you're making paragraphs, or you've written a book because you were told to put things in certain areas, but you don't know what you wrote, you don't know what you're saying, you don't know what it's saying. And so that's the thing. Like I can sit here and I can tell you, well, like you do this, do that, do this. But it's not until Andy thinks, you know what, I'm trying to control this too much. It is not me. This thing that I created is not me. It is a thing in and of itself. It is an expression of the Tao in and of itself. And I don't get to control that because I'm not in control. I don't possess this thing. This thing is going to live as it lives. And as she said, it will inspire her. And of course, we have a lack of words here to inspire her to quote unquote police the area to make sure that people. But what she's actually going to do is she's not going to try and control the people. What I know of Andy and what I understand, like her intentions to be, is that she's not going to try and have expectations of what people are going to say. But when they say things, she's going to lead them without imposing her will. Because I do believe that Andy is a master. I do believe that is within her grasp, and I believe that many people that uh, are on here on wisdom are moving in the direction of master. Of course, like myself or Andy or Kristen Brown or Catherine or so many people like definitely move in the direction of the master. And maybe we still have all work to do, but that is the master. The master definitely has work to do. And we are willing to do that work, which is what um what's the word I'm looking for, which what makes us even more uh capable, or what makes us more susceptible to being, it makes us more, it just makes it more possible for us to be a master, is because we always know that we have more to learn. All right, well, if anybody wants to come up and pick a number between 1 and 81, tomorrow is my birthday, just saying. So if you wanted to come up, pick a number between 1 and 81, I would love to field that number for you. This is Martin John. If you benefit from the work I do, please consider tipping me through Venmo at @MartinJohn_Garcia. Check out my podcast, Recover Yourself podcast. I'm coming out of 21 years clean and sober. I also was mentioning earlier my struggles with MS and other things, and I help individuals really recover themselves. Because what I want you to do is be you. I want you to be a master. I don't want you living under the influence of all of the influences out there, even this internet stuff, even social media. I don't want you living under the influence of social media. I still live under the influence of so many things, and I'm just trying to just be aware of them all and make sure that we're keeping myself in front. I live under the influence of many things, just as we all do, and being aware of where those influences are really help us understand how to grow and understand who we are. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate all that you do. Contact me if you're ready to work together and ready to recover yourself. I really appreciate each and every one of you checking me out here on the Wisdom app and the podcast on Spotify. So thank you so much. This was Tao of the Day. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.